Adventures in a great new show. C'est an all-new Saturday morning. You see it bien, c'est an all-new Saturday morning.
Hello and welcome to Classic Cartoon Rewind, the podcast where we provide audio commentary and watch-along tracks for cartoons published between 1940 to 1999 that are either based on or inspired by comic books. I'm your host, Carter Hutchison.
And I'm your co-host, Huey V.
And Huey, we've got a couple fun episodes of Jonny Quest today. It's episodes 9 and 10, I think. We're kind of flying through
We're pushing
this,
through it,
right?
Yep.
There's only 26 episodes in it.
Oh,
so.
yeah. It's like when you have things that are like just 25 to 26 episodes,
it's easy
it just kind of flies right through.
Totally. So the episodes we're covering today, the first one is titled Double Danger. And Double Danger. Yes. Any thoughts what that might be? What do you think that might allude to?
I'm thinking evil twins.
Nailed it. Not quite an evil twin, but yeah, an
It's
imposter of someone in the group. Yep, nailed it. It debuted on November 13th of 1964. There's not too much world news that's going on during this week. There's a bunch of bursts.
Okay.
But the two world events that I do have both take place in Vietnam. So the first one would be Typhoon Joan struck South Vietnam quickly after Typhoon Iris did. So parts of North Vietnam were temporarily halting most of the Vietnamese war operations. This caused torrential rains and floods that would kill more than 5,000 people. So can you imagine being in the middle of this like horrific meat grinder of a war to only take a break from 2 hurricanes?
Yeah.
The second one of which kills 5,000 people by itself.
And it was crazy. These type of like natural disasters have only killed more people over the years.
Yeah.
They've only gotten worse.
Yeah. Now, I will say, though, my 8-year-old loves natural disaster stuff. Like, he has a book on, like, earthquakes and
it's cool to
volcanoes. And, so he'll tell me, we'll be riding in the car, and that book always stays in the car. And randomly he'll just throw out some fact, like, Carter, did you know that such and such people died in Pompeii? It's like, I did not know that. Thank you. So that's one of his things. He loves, like, the Weather Channel. He's all about it. He will sit and watch the Weather Channel.
He's a pretty smart kid.
He is a smart kid. Almost too much.
Yep.
So this was just odd to me, too, that, well, here, let me read it first and we'll talk about it. The People's Republic of China shot down the first of hundreds of unmanned American drone aircrafts that the United States would send into Chinese airspace to monitor China's support of North Vietnam during the Vietnam War. The drone flights would continue for nearly 7 years before being suspended in July 1971. I didn't know drones were a thing at this point. I mean, I guess like it's just a like remote control plane with a camera, pretty much. It's not quite the like flying killer robots that we have now.
Yeah. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, everybody's got to start somewhere. Yeah, that's true.
It's like you start with monitoring people. And
yeah,
you start
even
with,
Skynet. Skynet had to start somewhere, right?
Let's put guns on them.
This flying robot is cool.
It's not cool
what
enough,
if this flying robot was a flying killer robot? There we go.
You've been watching way too many movies. Way
too much Jonny Quest.
Too much Jonny Quest and
Dr.
too much
Zen.
Bond.
Oh, no such thing. No such thing.
No such thing?
No.
Okay. Not enough Bond.
There we go. There it is. There it is. All right, so strap in for these bursts here. I've got 4 of them, which for 1 week is pretty significant. So first, a Sandra Peppa Denton was born in Jamaica. She is half of the hip-hop artist group Salt and Peppa. Yeah.
Push it.
I can't remember if she's the one that went like... One of them became very religious afterwards, and...
I think it was Salt.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds right.
Peppa is still doing reality television
Okay.
shows.
Okay. A Clarissa Flockhart was born, who would later be known for playing Ally McBeal in the television show. Joseph Simmons, some more hip-hop news here. He is Run from Rum DMC. That's awesome. I was born in Queens, New York, because of course. Right?
Every time I think of Run DMC, it makes me want to play SSX Tricky.
Nice.
Because like Tricky was the theme song.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Oh, for like his show or something?
Well, Run's house. Run's house was
right?
that was the Whose House? Run's house.
Oh, okay.
But Tricky, extreme to rock around to rock around. That was the video game title.
Oh, word. And then this one isn't like a very famous person, but Patrick Warburton, I think is how you pronounce his last name. He is David Puddy on Seinfeld, and he's Brock Sampson in Venture Brothers.
See, you made it sound like he wasn't that important, until you said Brock Sampson.
Okay, yeah.
Because Brock Sampson is the epitome of what it is to be a man in that universe. It's like
just super manly.
You have Race Bannon.
Totally.
And
he's Race
Bannon on
for the Venture Bros.
At least 8,000 different types of steroids.
Yeah. And they're definitely affecting his brain and testosterone levels, I can tell you that. He was also, what's his name in The Emperor's New Groove? He's the assistant. Yeah, he's Crunk.
He's Crunk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I know what you... I think...
Yeah, it's kind of like a monotone voice. And like when he's performing live action, he's kind of very squinty.
Yeah, so he wasn't... I think he's a really big guy.
Yeah.
So I think he was like in Scream 3.
Probably.
He played
that sounds about right.
Yeah. The only one to actually like fight back and still die. Like,
yeah.
He dies standing.
He's one of Elaine's like on again, off again boyfriends throughout Seinfeld.
Mm-hmm.
He's great. Love some David Puddy. Okay, that's all for the news.
All right. Let's get to it.
So we have the first second of the intro into Double Danger on pause. Going to give you a moment to get the episode queued up to watch along with us. In the meantime, while you're doing that, here's a quick message from our Patreon. All of Grassroots Comics is funded through our Patreon, patreon.com/grassrootscomics. For as little as $1 a month, you can become part of the Grassroots Comics community, which includes many perks, such as having your name mentioned in this segment of every episode of the podcast, the ability to suggest topics of discussion for shows like These Guys Have Issues, access to the private Grassroots Comics subreddit where members can continue discussions started on the podcast or start their own, behind-the-scenes access to the GRC studio, and early access to digitally released comics and Classic Cartoon Rewind. So it is the goal of all of us here at Grassroots Comics Productions that one day the Patreon is strong enough where we are able to produce the stories, artwork, and stop-motion animation shorts pitched and selected by the Grassroots Comics community. But the only way that becomes possible is with a strong Patreon. So if you feel that the entertainment value you receive from this podcast is at least worth 25 cents, then please become a Patreon contributor today, and with our powers combined, we can have all of our stories heard. All right, now let's get on with the rest of the show. Okay, and we're back. Time to put on Double Danger. Hope you got it on pause with us with the native peoples there. I'll be hitting play. There we go. See that
we're changing.
Everybody's native to somewhere. Is what Mike and I decided.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel you on that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So
not making anybody mad.
No. Yeah. Indigenous. That's fine too. Whatever. Either or.
Like the new take.
Right. Okay, I'm hitting play in 3, 2, 1, go. Huey, were you in the band in high school?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you play?
Played saxophone.
You played saxophone? Mm-hmm. I played saxophone too, man.
Woodwinds, bro. No, I don't think we talked about
this.
Yeah.
What type of sax did you play?
Alto.
I played tenor in marching, and then I played alto in jazz band.
I played alto in marching and symphonic, but then I became drum major, so I didn't really march.
Oh, nice. Cool. I can see that.
It's a great job.
I can see that immediately. Yeah. But I asked because do you hear the trombone riff? So like, womp, womp, womp.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love a good trombone riff, though.
Well, this is more than a good trombone riff. The composer who made this is the same guy who did like the Flintstones theme song and Jetsons and Yogi Bear and basically anything like Hanna-Barbera at this time, right? But his musician friends would kind of rib him a little that his themes were too easy to play. So he goes, "Okay, guys, fucking play this then.
Do what you want."
No, he purposely made that riff is technically impossible.
Oh.
For trombone. So like the trombones are kind of lagging behind the other brass instruments, which to me like adds that like resonance maybe at the end of it. It's a clear sound. So kind of cool that he was just, messing with his buddies, and it turned into something neat.
One of the greatest theme songs.
It's like I'm a big Bob Dylan fan as well, and then the song "Like a Rolling Stone." I can't remember if it's Dylan specifically, but whoever was playing organ in that song didn't know how to play organ, and was like,
"Really?
Yes." So if you listen to it, the organ is like half a beat behind, like everybody else. But that kind of like adds.
Yeah,
to...
sometimes that gives a little bit more. Sometimes you have that in some scores.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, like in the title, Double Danger?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of had a regional inspiration. So every episode seems to have some type of like inspiration towards some type of region. Like they're going to be some part of the world.
This is a globetrotting series, right?
So they're going to let you know in the opening.
We're going to be in the Orient, basically, this time. Yeah, you're totally right. Like, one's like an Arctic adventure, some are in the jungle, but yeah, they pick a locale pretty much, and they kind of stick to that one for an episode and then do something different the next one.
Yeah, so they're being geographically correct versus like the Max Fleischer series where you don't. There's like
That's
later
true.
in the series where you knew where you were going.
Yeah, they would do
like,
Japan and stuff at the end, but before it's Metropolis, and then there's a couple episodes where they
like a country where
go out of their way to make it Manhattan. Which is weird. I wonder how much these shots were reused over the course of the series. Because that looks like the same, plane race flying the plane thing in the beginning, and the same head turn that Johnny does.
You got to think about it. They're doing it every week.
Yes.
So, technology and animation isn't where it is now. So,
right.
If you're going to try to do something like every week and make it super popular, try to reuse the things that, you can get away with, like those panned out shots, Obviously, when they're talking, you can't reuse those things. You can't reuse this
all you're
jungle
gonna do is
when they're
animate
going through the desert,
And right there, I'm sure all that's really being animated is the plane sliding across the background.
But you gotta understand, like, what a lot of people need to understand is that you didn't have a lot to compare this to, so you can't just at the time you couldn't have been like, "Oh, this is horrible," because this is like a whole nother like level of animation.
Sure, no one had ever tried anything like this, especially for TV.
And the artistry is great, though.
Yes, that's kind of the catch-22 of Jonny Quest is that the individual artwork is great. It's the actual animation that is maybe
that's the catch-22
so
of Hanna-Barbera, though.
Yeah,
most of all their shows are like that. This is the 60s, 70s area.
Jonny Quest to an extreme, though.
This is the first one.
Like I was telling you off air before we started, I watched a documentary on Jonny Quest recently, and they were talking about the difference in, how we've talked about like animation cells, basically, right? So a Tom and Jerry episode around the same time that was fully animated would have about 14,000 different cells in it, right? Jonny Quest has 2,000 per episode. That's an insane difference. The creator of Jonny Quest, the Doug Wildley guy who we talked about in the intro episode, that was a constant struggle for him, was like fighting the limitations of the type of animation that they basically had to do because of budgeting and scheduling. But still, he wanted this to look like a documentary style, anime and action adventure cartoon.
Isn't that just revolutionizes the whole entire way cartoons are?
Yes. It's funny that, like, through that perspective, you might consider the first Jonny Quest series a failure. That he didn't, like, hit exactly what he was aiming at. But it's so massively influential that I think that would be short-sighted to call it a failure for its time.
Yeah, I mean, but like in hindsight, he could always say that in hindsight,
right?
Like this is my biggest failure, but my
how many things aren't appreciated? Like
exactly, I was thinking that too.
Henry Melville wasn't respected for Moby Dick.
There's his homie.
There we go. So we got a Dr. Zen episode.
Dr. Zen. Dr. Zen.
Excellent, Dr. Quest. Uh-oh. Messing with the water supply, that's a classic.
Yeah.
Classic villain trope.
It is very, effective.
Totally. And this is kind of interesting. Making a double like this for Race Bannon to infiltrate the Quest group.
Yeah, and he's also like having him study.
Right, for years, it seems.
But it's like, where are you getting this footage from of him?
Right, who is filming? Especially with
it's
1960s equipment. Who is filming Race Bannon writing in some book?
Like, they're using, old film. Oh, goodness.
Now that I can maybe imagine that there would be like karate practice move stuff of Race.
I could imagine, yeah.
That seems more likely than
Race
like
writing in like
a journal or something.
Yeah.
Now, funny enough, there is a Bond plot that would somewhat mirror this later. So if this is 1964, the movie I'm thinking of is Thunderball, which is probably like 1965, maybe. Because that was the fourth Bond movie made, and Dr. No is 62, and they were making them about every year at this point. So 63 would be gold. I know. Can you imagine?
It's like the moment they're done with, like, they would have to be working on 2 movies all in 1 year.
I mean, yeah, basically, but like, it's maybe 2 months shooting back at this time.
2 months? Well, I mean, movies haven't, like,
the shooting
movies
isn't
only
that
got
much
longer.
Now, something like Avengers is going to be longer, but that's because of all the
like every bit of production, like all the CGI and everything.
Totally.
Yeah. There's more stuff to take
Bond
out
is going to be more practical and on location type stuff.
Some of my favorite types of movies are the ones that don't really have too much going on, like Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Practical effects are the best for sure. Oh, you mean just like smaller movies?
Smaller movies where it's like things happen in one day, but a lot of stuff happens,
Yeah. But yeah, no, in Thunderball, the evil organization Spectre has found this person who looks a lot like this guy that's flying a plane that's equipped with a nuclear bomb. Mm-hmm. So they give this guy plastic surgery, and he learns to speak like that pilot and to mimic his movements and like how he wears his like pilot cap and everything.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. So I can understand both of these things kind of drawing inspiration from each other.
Well, that is funny to me to think of, is like
just making a whole album.
Did Ian Fleming, and there's this guy named Kevin McClory who was involved in Thunderball as well, and that's its whole other can of worms. Mm-hmm. Apparently Ian Fleming and Kevin McClory wrote the Thunderball script together. And, like, depending on who you talk to, it is unclear who came up with which characters and which plot points. You know, I'm sure it was after, it's Ian Fleming, so after a few drinks, you know, around his estate in Jamaica, Goldeneye. That was the name of his house. That's where they got the name of the movie from.
Oh, okay. I wish.
Right. Yeah, his life was he would live in England, and every year he would take about a month to two break and go live at his estate in Jamaica called Goldeneye, and bang out a Bond book, and then go back to London. That's what Ian Fleming did for about, 14 years?
I wish.
Yeah, me too. But anyways, Kevin McClory would end up actually suing Ian Fleming to the rights for Bond. Yeah, it got really messy. It almost killed the franchise. But the final ruling, I guess, was that Kevin McClory had some rights to the Thunderball storyline, but couldn't remake it until 20-something years later. So that leads to this movie called Never Say Never Again, which came out in the 80s, starring Sean Connery as a James Bond, but it is the only unofficial James Bond movie. So there's one production company that's made all the Bond movies called Eon, and this one is not made by that, and it was actually put up against Roger Moore's Octopussy. At the same time, those were both in theaters. So it was like, audiences are going to pick with their money who they like better as Bond at this moment. Octopussy ended up grossing more than Never Say Never Again. But yeah, it's basically the same thing, right? Make a double of a guy, infiltrate him into the group. There's no nuclear bomb to steal.
It's hard to when it's so simple, and it's hard to tell which one is which, you know.
Ben is very proud of himself for chasing off that monkey.
Get that monkey out. It's been bothering me since I got here. And he comes again. Literal monkey on
Quit monkeying around. Ooh. Yeah, something tells me that's not.
Oh, God, no. No.
Could have been worse.
That was a big centipede or whatever
Just
that was.
Just a big ass bug.
It's a huge ass bug. So hold on, bro. I don't know.
You don't smell like race. You don't smell like Santa. You smell like beef and cheese. They arm wrestling? Yeah, well, okay.
You don't have iPads and stuff like that.
I guess that's true, right?
So let's just arm wrestle. See, IG, I'm stronger than you. Oh, you cheated, bro.
Come on.
They gotta run me these hands now, homie. Doing too much.
Oh. Cobra, very dangerous. Oh.
Why does he have to talk like that?
I'm just wondering if that's actually
If that's factually true,
right?
Like they always could.
So
do snakes like
cobras are the Sith? There's always two.
Do they have that pack mentality?
I didn't think snakes to be that sentimental.
Yeah, like some, you know how many people have like gone out to like the Amazon or like the places like that where they see like cobras or snakes, and they're just like, guys, the danger's not over yet. I've gotten this from Jonny Quest. If you see one snake, there's another one following it. Especially a king cobra.
One episode of Jonny Quest, and it's really factual up to this point.
I know what I'm talking about, man. I know what I'm talking about. It was on Jonny Quest.
So apparently a group of cobras is called a quiver.
Oh, so there's a thing.
I mean,
unless it's just like, unless you put them in a group.
Which that's kind of awesome.
Quiver.
A quiver of cobras. I think that's the sequel to Winds of Winter.
Quiver of cobras. Let's put that in the think tank. Let's use that for something. Quiver of cobras.
They are the only species of snake to build nests for their young.
Makes me quiver.
In fear. I hate snakes, man. Ugh. I hate snakes. I hate
snakes, spiders, rodents.
Oh, man, I've been killing spiders since I've been in my 20s. But,
20s?
Yeah. Since I was 26, I've been killing spiders. So,
man.
No big deal.
Yeah.
No big deal.
I've never killed so many roaches since I've been with my wife. Since we've been together. Every time she sees a roach, can you kill it? You do it. I'm scared. How?
So I'm pretty sure it's the first time we've ever seen her. This is Jade, I think her name is. She is Race Bannon's Flame.
Okay.
Romantic love interest.
Of course he has one.
Of course he does.
It's Race.
It's Race Bannon. But no, she's kind of cool, and I feel like it was, again, new ground for a cartoon series for kids to suggest a sexual relationship between an older couple.
Yeah, it's a lot more
really
realistic.
Anyone, I guess.
It's realistic, though.
It is. It's funny to look back and call Jonny Quest realistic. But
the subject matter,
totally,
a lot of things that come on.
I mean, yeah, it delves into some science fiction and
obviously.
Some straight up what do you call it? It's not fantasy, but some ghost stuff. Whatever.
Supernatural.
Yeah, there we go. That's the word I was looking for.
You're not always gonna. Obviously, you're not gonna have like a lizard man type of situation, or you're not gonna have your own Dr. Zen. But, when it comes to, relationships like this, relationships they have with the kids, a dad having to go out on a job and taking his kids with him, and he has a bodyguard. It's
it makes sense.
It's something that happens.
And if you have seen the Real Adventures of Jonny Quest from the 90s...
I do not remember
at all. Remember the girl that was with them though? Isn't her name Jessie?
I have a few. Yeah, I think that. Yeah,
that is Jade and Race's daughter.
Okay.
Yeah. So she kissed the Race Bannon double. And so she's like, that's not Race Bannon's lips.
He don't kiss like that.
No, I'm sure he doesn't.
I know how my Race kisses.
She tells the boys, she's like, there are some ways a woman can't be fooled. His pen, what an odd... I mean, maybe that's the 60s thing, but pens nowadays are more disposable, I guess.
Yeah.
Race wouldn't go anywhere without his pen.
I mean, back in the day,
right?
You had those really expensive pens. You could still buy really expensive pens and cases
totally,
and everything.
For
but
sure.
Back then, never left without your pen, your watch, your tie, and your hat,
Man, Race is missing all of that now. Well, he might have his watch on him.
Definitely doesn't have his gun.
No. Hmm? It's a quick,
immediately,
quick bit of exposition. Only 26 minutes, because we got to move it along. No, that was an interesting way to kind of cheat around animation, to show him moving off screen, and then you just hear the sound effect of a struggle, and then you go real quick to them, and then you come back to a face talking. That is one thing in studying film in Auburn. Sound design of cartoons and movies always was something that really interested me, especially theoretical sounds. Like when the first Star Wars movie was being made, how do you decide what a laser blast sounds like, and how do you make that noise? And, pew, pew. Spoiler alert: you get a slinky and you suspend it from the ceiling so it's hanging down, right? It's kind of loose. Hang your microphone down in that slinky and then flick the slinky. And it'll go.
Oh, okay. Did you ever watch, it was Men in Black 2. Oh, Hodges about to get... Oh, what the... Gun's gone.
Oh, giant one. Oop. That's a bad spot to stand with that bench there, henchman.
Knew it. Knew it. Took the
nice.
Out. How you do this? Bink?
Can I just go ahead and say that, like, Haji is like 1,000 times more useful than Jonny?
Way more useful.
And I'm not, like, dissing Jonny. He's a fairly useful 11-year-old.
Yeah, but, like...
He's 11.
His eagerness is what normally gets him into, like,
totally. That's 100% fair. He is like he's hot-headed.
Haji's the same age, but he thinks things through a lot. He's kind of like...
seems more mature, for sure.
He's the
but
one
I'm
that's
sure
always like...
growing up on the streets of Calcutta
pushes you to that point, yeah. Anytime that Johnny's like, let's do this, he's like, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think we need to do that, you know?
No, man.
My Haji senses is tingling.
Right.
And they're not tingling in that direction, I can tell you that, buddy.
Oh.
Got him hemmed up like a mug. But I was saying earlier, did you ever watch the thing about it's like a extra scene in the Men in Black 2, and they were showing you how they did all of the sound effects during like that big fight.
No.
Like, you know the part where he falls on all those like rubber things?
I don't think I've ever seen Men in Black 2 all the way through.
Yeah, if you watch it, or if you go like...
Is that the one where Kay's working at like a post office? Mm-hmm. Okay, I've seen parts of it, but I know I haven't seen that all the way through.
They show you how they do the sound effects, and it's real old school.
That's interesting. I have a book right there that's all the Star Wars sound effects that I got for my last project at school.
Yeah, Star Wars.
Yep.
You just go through Barnes and Noble and just like trek through all their stuff, like all their.
That was an Amazon purchase.
Oh man!
But yeah.
Ooh.
Bam, bam, bam.
You may look like me, homeboy, but you ain't got my.
You don't
hands.
take a punch like me.
You do not take a punch like me.
You rascals. There we go. There's only one Ray Spannon. Jade. If they ever made a live-action Jonny Quest movie, you got to put Jade.
You got to put Jade in there,
or at least a reference. Yeah,
I would make it more than an Easter egg. I think they would just have to put the character in there
at some point. Yeah,
because they make it canon that they have kids.
Right.
They,
Yeah. And just from a purely like representation standpoint too, this series could use a bit more like
female touch.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Bandit joke. Everybody laughs. Cue credits.
This is the way of the world, man.
It's so comforting, the formula.
Gotta love it.
Like a warm blanket.
Gotta love it. Joseph, Barbera, William, Hannah.
Yep. The dudes.
Wink. Boom. God, they let that hurt.
Yeah. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. That's the first I've noticed Doug Wiley. It's like signature at the bottom of it.
There's always room to grow, room to keep pushing, putting more.
I don't know if it's the first.
Oh, you see that chamber thing?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So that's a. You never watched Venture Brothers.
Is that a Venture Brothers thing? No.
It's Venture Brothers. They find a Jonny Quest type of character in one of those things. And he's been like in there for like 20 years. And so he's just like crazy, and he has like Vietnam flashbacks from like God. He's always talking about like all the stuff that he did in the past. Good stuff, man.
I love it.
I love Venture Brothers.
I love it.
It's like that whole thing with Jade. You have like Brock, who is the epitome of a man, and anytime he meets with a female, he always has to, get with her. And it's not even like he's trying for the most part. It doesn't matter what female it is. He will always smash.
Yeah.
Because
he's Brock Sampson, damn it.
Brock Sampson.
And Brock Sampson smashes
everything.
He's like the Hulk.
Yeah. Except with his penis.
That got me more than it probably should. All right, moving right along. Okay, the next episode is titled Shadow of the Condor. This is one of my favorites. This is kind of like Most Dangerous Game. You know what short story I'm talking about, the Most Dangerous Game? Like where this wealthy hunter has like an island and he gets a human on it, and that's to track him down, and he's not an armed human.
Used in so many things.
Oh, totally. So this is basically the Most Dangerous Game, but with airplanes. And then I think they're in the Andes, maybe Andes Mountains. The bad guy just has like a cool backstory and stuff to me in this too, though. This is another one where you could expand this into a whole movie probably if you wanted to.
A lot of these things you can.
Little mini movies, man. That's basically what they were going for. Even back to the Max Fleischer stuff. And that was a slogan that Batman the Animated Series, the Bruce Timm guys would use a bunch. It's like, we're making mini movies. So think about epic scales condensed into 26 minutes.
They started... was Batman the first animated series to just get movie spin-offs?
No, can't be. It's got to be.
No.
Well,
the Jetsons and Hanna-Barbera were doing crossover movies.
Right.
The Jetsons and Flintstones and stuff like that.
Do you count Ninja Turtles? Do you go to the live action route? If you go live action route, then you might as well go all the way back to Batman and Superman with the serials from the 40s.
Yeah, I guess because they didn't really start doing animated movies until
maybe the 90s. Yeah, but that just was a place. I guess
that.
Animation was at a place where you could it wasn't as expensive at that point.
And speaking of Ninja Turtles, there's no need to do what Michael Bay's doing with that when they've done so perfect with the old stuff.
Yeah,
and it was just like. Did
they make a second one of those?
Are you talking about
the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles?
I think they're rebooting it again. I read something earlier today, and they're talking about rebooting again. It's like Michael Bay will milk.
Wait, it's still Michael Bay?
I think it's Michael Bay.
Oh, fuck that, man. That sucks. If you're gonna reboot it, clean house.
When Michael Bay does something, he does it all the way.
Yeah.
Did he do all the Transformers movies, or did he do half the Transformers
I'm sure
movies?
He at least produced all of them. I don't know if he directed all of them, because sometimes...
Because the only reason why Megan Fox was in those movies was because of Michael Bay. He did Jonah Hex and everything.
Yeah. Did he make that movie?
I think he did Jonah Hex. I could be wrong, but I just think that any movie that Megan Fox has been in has been mostly a Michael Bay situation until she called them Nazis, and then they were like, you know what, you're good, you're good.
Bye.
But we'll bring you back for to be April, which was not a good choice.
No, it's really not.
She was not a good choice for April.
Because I guess I like Megan Fox, right?
April's a redhead.
Yeah,
April's a redhead. She's fiery. She's dope.
Right. Yeah. Basically, yeah. Unfortunate. Let's see. No, Jimmy Hayward directed the Jonah Hex movie.
I was completely wrong.
I was gonna say it wasn't that good, so maybe Michael Bay did direct it. Okay, here we go. So, Shadow of the Condor premiered on November 20th of 1964. During that week, the British Prime Minister Wilson declared in a speech to Parliament, quote, "If there is one nation that cannot afford to chalk on the walls, 'World, go home,' it is Britain. We are a world power and a world influence, or we are nothing." End quote. The statement came after Wilson had announced that the United Kingdom would phase out its military bases in the Persian Gulf and in the Pacific Ocean. I just thought that quote was very applicable to Brexit. Mm-hmm. We are a world power and a world influence, or we are nothing. With Brexit being we're not going to participate in this whole European Union thing. We're pulling out. Mm-hmm. I know England has, like, that there's money there, but I think this is going to highlight how much the 21st century has kind of passed England by, at least with the decision to do Brexit.
Yeah.
That now it's a relatively small island.
It used to be like a real big military
power.
100%.
You know? Sun never sets on the British Empire.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Just when I was going through the weekly events here and read that quote, it seems
it's just crazy to think how, like, not to say they've fallen. You know, it's just, you know, they still have monarchy that's not even like.
Yeah, I mean, what
just
real
like
power do they really? Right,
you're
it's
just
more
saying
traditional.
you're just saying you have a queen. You know?
Right. Yeah, it's
Do
more
really
of a traditional role than
yeah.
actual governing.
So you guys just have all of the money in a big castle.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay. In civil rights news, the desegregation of restaurants, lodgings, and movie theaters in Macomb, Mississippi, took place without incident.
Which is crazy to think about, though.
Right? That's why I thought this was at
Mississippi.
least like worth mentioning, because you think of it being such a violent and tumultuous time, but for 1964 for this to actually happen is pretty impressive. That after the NAACP had selected a small town in order to test compliance with the new Civil Rights Act of 1964, a group of 20 African American men and women were able to get served food, rent motel rooms, and sit where they wished to watch a movie. Macomb Mayor Gordon Burt and local business leaders had taken out newspaper advertisements urging residents to peacefully comply with the law and provided police officers nearby as well.
It's a bad business move not to like let that, you know, not to desegregate.
Exactly. Well, yeah, totally. Like, is their dollar not worth as much? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it was like during, you know, slavery. It was a bad business move to just have human beings, you know, pick your cotton when we have these new things called cotton gins. We have things that are doing that for us.
Sure, you're fighting innovation
Yeah.
and also limiting consumers.
Yeah. It's all a business move at the time.
This was a good quote that I thought was relevant at the end. It's from the head chair of the Macomb City Police Committee. He told reporters that, quote, anytime the power structure of a community takes a stand against violence, it certainly curtails the possibility of trouble. Basically just being like, there's more of us than there are of you, and you need your constituents. You need to listen to your constituents, right? And so, like, if that's actually what this like town was telling their representatives, then there you go. So it's just not something that you think of from.
We shouldn't be afraid of you. You guys should be afraid of us.
Nailed it. Love that quote.
Mm-hmm.
It is applicable in times past November as well. In some sports news, golfer Jack Nicklaus narrowly defeated Arnold Palmer to become the top money winner of the year as the 1964 PGA Tour ended.
It must have been crazy.
Right. So, first of all, those are like two of the best golfers of all time. You know, if you think like Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson, like that rivalry is like intense, Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer, that's where it started. And I also really like that the way this counts like golf's national championship is who earned the most money.
Yeah, it's not like who has the better stats or anything. It's
right.
Like,
well, it kind of, you know, first place gets a certain amount, second place gets a little bit less than that, third and so forth. So it makes sense, but it's just so funny that like
how much
you don't
money
think of
was it,
any other sport that's like that.
Yeah, you have like baseball and football, and it'll be like based on your contract, this is how much money they're going to be getting.
But then like, your record, as far as like who's the champion, is a team, you know, environment. I'm trying to think of any individual sports, like maybe bowling or something, or like
tennis.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if that
do they even talk about how much money you make?
I'm sure they do. They do.
Racing,
I don't pay enough. There you go.
NASCAR.
That might be really good. Now NASCAR has a very odd system of how they crown their champion.
Well, just like racing.
I don't even fully understand it. My parents follow it. I kind of half listen whenever they're telling me about it. There's some like points thing, but then there's like playoffs kind of, and I don't know. whatever.
There's like a lot. There's a good bit of sports you just had to think about that go off like who made the most money down to like who didn't.
Right.
But it's all like first place, second place, third place.
Right. Yeah. Totally. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. And then the one noticeable birth from this week was a Susan Rice, who was a U.S. ambassador to the United Nations from 2009 to 2013. She was also National Security Advisor from 2013 to 2017, and she was from Birmingham, Alabama.
Nice.
There we go. Which is currently where we're recording, in case you are unaware of that. You know it.
One more sport that you can think of, just like combat sports.
Oh, that's
combat
a good point.
sports automatically, like if Conor McGregor wins a fight, he'll like it's $60,000. Or like when Conor McGregor and Mayweather fought,
right.
it was on the table how much money either one of them would have made. The winner would get this amount of millions, and the loser would get this amount of millions. And at this point, I think it was like one of the highest paid fights
of all time.
It's like $200 million to the loser or something like that.
Goodness gracious, that's insanity.
You see why I want to do that, man?
I do. I do. Oof, I don't know. You seen Muhammad Ali recently?
Yeah, but Muhammad Ali, he took a lot of punches today.
He did.
He was a lot more, one of the greatest of all time, but he did take a lot of hits today. You won't get that from Mayweather, because Mayweather was more of a defensive fighter than he was.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess there is a style aspect to that, to how well you preserve your body, right?
Combat sports and martial arts, martial arts in general, has just changed. So you're not, a lot more, you're wanting to move out of the way a lot than you are taking the hit and seeing how strong you are. You have those defensive fighters.
Yeah. If you think about it from a football perspective, say you were a running quarterback, right? Michael Vick never really shied away from contact, and he paid for that with several injuries. On the flip side of that, Russell Wilson is like the slide king.
Oh man, you are not going to touch him.
No, and most of that's because Russell Wilson probably could have played professional baseball if he wanted to. So sliding, that's going to come in handy there.
He would have made more money.
Oh, I think you make more money playing football.
You think?
I think so.
The amount of money that you make off of baseball.
That's why Kyler Murray is playing football. Well, he was the number 1 overall draft pick and pretty much knew he was going to be. So I'm sure that helps. But, rookie contracts aren't what they used to be. I think Cam Newton's year was the last one that had the just ungodly rookie contract scales, and the league came out with some rules where they limited those some. Yeah,
because you gotta remember the year he came back, the year he graduated, going into the NFL. He went
11.
Yeah, didn't he go undefeated that year?
Yeah, Auburn did.
Just people got mad and it was just it's a one-player team, one-person team. It's you guys can easily say that about Tua, but
and to say that is not to get on an Auburn football rant here, but we had a completely senior offensive line at the time.
It was
great Darvin Adams at receiver. It
was amazing.
Terrell Zachary, not to mention Nick Fairley on defense and Josh Bynes, a linebacker. We were stacked. Michael Dyer at running back.
That was the best that I've ever seen Auburn.
Yeah.
In a long time, and it was just the Alabama hate was just so big.
Oh, wow. Their tears are so delicious.
Your tears
are so good.
All right, let's go.
All right. Okay. Yep. So we have the what did we settle on? Indigenous.
Native.
There we go. We have the native people on pause here. We're going to be. We got them peeps on pause.
Got them peoples.
All right. We've got the episode on pause. I'm hitting play in 3, 2, 1, go.
Who's that little kid just running by?
I think
Short Round?
No, that would be great though. I think that's the All-American boy thing from the test footage that Doug Wildley was originally brought on for.
Mm-hmm.
And then they either didn't want to pay for the rights, or were like, or they just recognized how insanely talented Doug Wildley was and was like, you just want to like do your own thing. Like if you were making something like this, what would you call it?
This is a very involved intro.
Yeah.
I said it before, it's like you can always tell what's going to be in the show later because they put a lot of those things in the intro.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it kind of sets you up for the whole entire show.
The whole series, because it's the same intro as long as it goes.
I love it when seasons go by on shows and the intro changes a little bit.
Me too.
I love
Me
that.
too. To add just a little... Game of Thrones does, especially to where if they're going to focus on like an area that they haven't been going to recently, they'll go to that area on like the map in the intro. Huey is behind in Game of Thrones, unlike the rest of the world. So,
whatever.
You haven't gotten any of it spoiled for you?
Well, my wife loves to like talk about it, and not really like an nauseam, but she really does talk about the things like, oh my god, this has happened. I give my opinions off of like what I think of the characters, like.
I'd be mad.
But it doesn't. No, it really doesn't like affect it because you really can't retell the story how the
no, that's true.
The way it
that's
actually
true.
happened. So
I work with this girl that was saying she just YouTubes the highlights.
No, like Karen tried to make me do that in the beginning of a season. She was just like, "I really want you to watch this first episode with me." I was like, "I don't want to watch it and have a friend over." She's like, "I really want you to watch it for me," and I have. You can watch this review.
I think Race is flying with his eyes closed in that panel back there. But anyway,
his face looks a lot longer in that.
So they would
zoom in.
I mean, I was telling you during the last episode recording that it was hard for the expectations and where Doug Wildley wanted the show to be to match what they were able to do production-wise. Just like grueling hours. There are some horror stories of like artists doing like 70-hour weeks.
For like a 30-minute episode,
yes,
or 25-minute episode.
Just crazy. Trying to match his art style, which was really, really difficult. So Hanna-Barbera would bring in these animators from like the Flintstones and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so that's why you have... there's one episode in particular towards the end that involves a Yeti. And like you can tell the scenes where it is a Doug Wildley drawing Yeti because it looks like terrifying and like really kind of like some deep shadows and stuff.
Then it becomes super cartoony.
Yup, it looks like straight out of Bedrock. Yeah. So yeah, to summarize here, the Quest team is flying above the Andes. They start having some engine trouble, and there's only one. They're in a bunch of mountains, so there's only one landing strip that Race is able to get it on here. Maybe. But I love stuff like this. It's kind of like haunted house. Not exactly like a haunted house, but it works like a haunted house story in that you're isolated. There's really not anywhere you can go out of here, and like there is something amiss. Like there is some kind of danger in the place that you're in. I like the book, and then there were none. You know what I'm talking about? It's a Agatha Christie mystery novel that all these people get invited to this island, and they don't really know why this person invited them there, and that person isn't present.
And people start disappearing.
And they don't know what their relationships are to each other. And yes, like one by one,
like
somebody.
Clue. Like
it is kind of like
the Clue
Clue.
movie.
It is kind of. You seen the Clue movie?
I've seen the Clue movie.
I love the Clue movie.
Dude, I love the ending.
I'm gonna go home and have sex with my wife.
It's like, which ending was the actual real ending?
Oh, that was the best.
You'd pick.
Yeah, I had a DVD of it, and you could either pick the 4 endings or choose a random one.
Yeah.
And yeah, the random one's what I was always.
I watched it on TV, and so obviously they're gonna show all the endings.
Oh yeah, that's
my
right.
My favorite one was the one where they just let her walk out, and she just like had the gun, and they're like, yeah, and they started singing her a song or something like that.
Oh, dude, so many just really talented comedic people. You'd be surprised at the people that, I mean, maybe you wouldn't, that have never heard of that movie though. When Clue itself is such a popular board game. Yeah,
I thought people knew about the movie. You realize everybody is just horrible. All of you are just a bunch of murderers.
Yeah.
A bunch of murderers. Except for one of you.
Except for the CIA. Or is he CIA?
FBI or CIA.
Some one of those, yeah. Okay, so this guy's clearly German, in case the hat, the dachshund, and the accent isn't giving it away.
Oh, don't forget the monocle.
Yeah.
The monocle.
No, that's to show he's a bad guy.
Oh, okay.
Right? Monocle, eye patch, scar, bad guy. Dun, dun, dun.
It's a really small teacup. Why are they always that small?
It is. Maybe it's cappuccino or something. Well, no.
Very strong thing to give somebody. It's like giving them bourbon too, in a teacup.
Have this shot. Yeah, he's eyeing an equal here.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some Jonny Quest episodes too that have like monsters, right?
Yeah.
The Condor isn't quite like a monster per se.
But it is pretty rare to see a gigantic.
Yes.
Condor.
Oh, 100%.
You know how ridiculously scared you would be?
Yeah.
I would be like, I don't.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. You've seen like an eagle and stuff in real life, right? It is always shocking just how big of a bird it is when you see one out in the wild.
Like a harpy vulture. Have you ever seen a harpy vulture before?
I don't think so.
It's huge. Or an ostrich or emu.
Yes.
Emu.
Yes. Ostrich, the closest living relative to the velociraptor.
They can kill lions.
That's wild. I would want to see that.
They can kill lions if they're threatened. They're like the only bird that can do that. And they run up to 40 miles per hour.
So if you'll notice, there's a very important little plot point there. The caretaker of the castle, I guess, or the main guy in the castle, has a helper named Julio, who is a mute. Just kind of pencil that away, put that away for a little bit here. Remember that.
Yeah.
Put that feather in your cap.
Okay.
Set aside for later.
Just.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I know where that's gonna go.
What do you think? Predictions?
It's mute, right? Does that play into anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would trust Haji's feelings too.
Oh my God, Haji looks. Oh.
Yeah.
Looks like a
Bubo
10
the owl.
Michael
Oh my
Jackson.
God.
That is. This is real shot. That was like real reaction.
Just saying, if someone got that one little clip of Haji in the bed with Bandit underneath the covers kind of freaking out and set that as a looping GIF, it might not look what it's supposed to look like. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
Dr. Quest and
looks
Race
like what I'm gonna have.
sleeping in the same bedroom, but separate beds. Keeping up appearances.
Nah, man,
Or-
it's already been stated that he has Jay.
Hey, it's the 60s, man. It's the swinging 60s.
Maybe, you know. Don't want to rule that out.
Right.
Acceptance,
Could be. I doubt it. Race very much seems like the, red meat and potatoes type, red-blooded American type.
Hey,
guy.
man.
You never know, though, right?
Doesn't mean that he didn't have his little feel of some
light in the loafers.
Mr. Quest.
Yeah.
That's a little offensive. You don't want to say that.
Is it?
Light in the loafers?
Is that offensive?
I found that I don't really like say anything offensive, or that I would think that is offensive.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then I have a couple of gay friends that just say the most offensive things about homosexuals, and I'm just like, I didn't say that. I'm not gonna say it. That's all on you.
Yeah.
It's a little life in the
well, hopefully not. No offense meant if
I know
it was taken. Yeah. Something's going on with that. Whoa! Something's definitely going on with that Julio with that look. What's he planning? Wow. That was some very cheap animation. Or how the bird is...
The bird is slightly moving. Like you see.
Yes. But like not flapping its wings. It's gliding.
There's some that's barely flapping the wings. You saw like the first time it moved by, and the second time it just kind of like floated by.
So another thing I found out from that Jonny Quest documentary was that Doug Wadley did not want Bandit in the show. In fact, he's the only character not designed by Doug Wadley. It's designed by one of the Flintstone guys.
Well, yeah, I guess, Hanna-Barbera.
Not the Dachshund.
Totally the Dachshund. Bandit's going to be like, not the homie.
Yeah, not Bandit.
Hey, bro, you don't know who I am, man.
But Doug Wadley's objection to Bandit was that, for all intents and purposes, like we were saying, for what it is, it's a somewhat realistic show, right? It wants to be grounded in realism. But the more Bandit does in an episode, the more you're aware that, like, this isn't a dog that exists in real life. This is a clearly cartoon dog, right?
Well, it's Hanna-Barbera, and so they always have, like, something, whether it be just an inanimate object where they make sentient, or they give, like, a serious personification of something.
I know they also considered a monkey.
Monkeys.
There was some kind of pet, other pets thrown around.
But it would make more sense for a Caucasian boy from America to have a dog.
That's actually why Wadley didn't want it to be at first, was because he thought Lassie would have been a decade before this, right? So, he kind of thought that the boy and his dog thing had been overplayed. Clearly not, though, because Bandit's one of the most beloved characters from the show. And as a kid, Bandit was my favorite. It's funny. I'm a dog person.
You're a dog person,
I'm a dog person.
But I swear to God, if they kill that dog,
showing off. Foreshadowing.
Like, Race is just cutting to the point here. He's like, bro, like, did you mess with my plane? Right? You saw that feather? I could have shot
your eye.
Yeah, like, right. I could have shot a smaller target than that feather, bro.
That's no bigger than a swamp rat.
Is that a Family Guy Star Wars reference?
Yeah. Right. I used to shoot him with my T-18 all the time. You shot animals?
I love at the end of those series that they always, like, him and Chris would always have, like, this argument because, Seth Green versus Seth MacFarlane. Have fun on an animation network.
Aha. Julio apparently is not so mute.
Also not so evil.
Yeah, true. Looks can be deceiving. Except for the Baron. That guy looks fucking evil and he's evil.
Totally evil. It's like, don't judge a book by its cover, except for the Baron.
Right. Judge that book.
Like that.
Right.
Fuck that book.
Right. Yeah, because clearly the Baron was a fighter pilot in World War One. That is something I'm not sure about. I know that like after that the Nazis in Germany after World War II, basically had to leave Germany, right? And that's why you have these stories of like Nazis in Brazil and stuff like that. But I'm not sure exactly what happened to like those who were pushed out after World War One. Like, did they have to kind of,
were they pushed?
I don't know. So that's what I'm asking. Like,
because this wasn't World War One. wasn't like World War Two. World War Two was like a whole,
like ideology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then it was mass genocide.
Yes.
Then it was just like you lost, so now
World War Two was a domino effect of people who had sided with other people. And
there's also just a whole like, what is good versus evil?
Yes.
What you did was kill millions of people over just something ridiculous.
Right.
And so we have to find you. We have to put you in jail.
Yeah.
At that time, I don't think it was like that. I think it was just
sure. Now,
it was a war.
I guess it's a question. If someone from and now this would be from any side, but I guess especially the German side, since usually the side that loses is punished more after a war.
Right.
If there were any war crimes committed during that point, could cause somebody to have to flee their country.
I would think so.
Right.
It's a war crime.
Yeah.
There are rules to war.
Right. Well, I think maybe I'm wrong, but I know World War One specifically had like an accords afterwards that set out, we're not going to use mustard gas and stuff like that.
I think that's where it like mostly started was the rules of war, and these are the things.
So do you retroactively do that? Like, do you say like, hey, well, you can't do that because I'm sure both sides use mustard gas. All right, so you can't like declare it a rule after the war and then retroactively punish someone for doing that.
They used
during
mustard
the war.
gas in World War II, didn't they?
I don't think so. I thought it was a war crime by that point.
Yeah, you can't really go back on that.
Yeah. What could go wrong?
But concentration camps were a huge war crime.
Yeah.
Huge
yes,
war
absolutely.
Crime. That's why people didn't know about them until after the war was over. People didn't know about them.
I can't imagine that, of like being in the middle of World War II and even just seeing it in like newsreels and stuff and like it being horrific, yes. And knowing that, Hitler is a deeply evil person, and that they have the, intent to commit genocide. But not that they had really had the means and were like as far in like the Germans know their machines, right? And they're like processes. And so like to get the same kind of like, mentality that makes a Volkswagen or a Mercedes behind mass murdering is well,
you gotta understand where the state
heck of a war machine.
Where Germany was at the time. They were in a very bad state after World War One. Like $1 million was nothing. They were basically using money for like, dumpster fires.
Right after between World War One and World War Two, and you see those pictures of people with like wheelbarrows full of money going to buy bread.
Yes.
Just because of inflation. But that's because Germany owes so much money from World War One that to cover that they printed just a ton of it, and then it didn't,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you have Hitler come through, and he's like, I can put us back on track.
When people are that like hopeless, and then you can try to point to one specific group of people and be like, no, it's not your fault that's like this. It's these people's fault.
Even though they are German.
Right.
These people are from here.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is the perfect petri dish for extremism.
And some people were just purely evil. Some people weren't either.
Right.
They had to make people watch what was going on, the things that they were like doing.
Crazy. I can't imagine after going through the war, then to have that come out afterwards and be like,
this is what your superiors were doing.
Right. Jeez. So yeah, most dangerous game.
Having a dogfight in the air.
Right, but Race's plane does not have ammo.
But this is this dude is literally grinding his shit. He's like, you want to play, bro? I don't need. You're asking for it, bro.
Right.
Look, man, I'm giving you one more chance.
Okay. Womp womp.
He said empty. Alright. Knew it.
You're asking for it, Baron. Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers, Race.
Yeah, that's what we need in this situation. I'm Race motherfucking man, and you think
right?
I've been through a lot worse, man.
So is this guy like the Red Baron, basically?
Like the pizza?
No, like Red Baron, the famous.
Sorry.
You're good. You caught me. No, Red Baron, the famous pilot from World War One. He's in a red plane. He's German.
Yeah, it could. I think it may be a playoff.
Sure. Yeah, that's probably
his plane is red.
Right. Yeah.
Clearly German inspired. Because he is German.
Could be some Char stuff, being the Red Comet. That's what he was modeled after, right?
Yeah.
We gotta have a Gundam discussion one day.
We will have a Gundam discussion.
I like it.
Gotta go through Hulu, and then there's like so many different series on there.
Yeah, I know the original is on YouTube. The dubbed version. Now I have the. Oh, this is cool. This is a cool part. I'll shut up here for a minute.
Not a cool part.
Don't mess with Mama's nest. So yeah, the very thing that he held in such high esteem is
fucked him up.
But it was his own aggression, right?
Yeah.
You're acting a fool, flying around, shooting up in the mountains.
Yeah, dude.
You get close to giant condor's nest.
You're glad he didn't eat your plane, bro.
Yeah, don't fuck with Mama Bird. I'm sure that guy will be happy now that you just killed his master. Yeah, and
I can stay in the house.
You're right.
Just keep those over.
And I get to put my
shit.
Whew. Sorry, I apologize. That noise in our house. That scared the crap out of me.
Literally had the same reaction at the same time. I was trying to do a risky business type of thing that Julio's gonna do after he gets home.
Oh yeah, he walks right in those doors, takes his pants off.
That Condor was on nobody's side.
Yeah, that Condor was on the Condor side.
Like, dude, don't. If you really want to live,
leave.
That's a big ass Condor, right?
God damn. Right? So yeah, that's a good one.
I want to hover, whatever that thing is.
Please. The Dr. Zen's evil bad guy organization uses a bunch of those too. Very cool. Sign me up.
All right.
Do you remember those in the back of comic books? Do you remember those at all? That would they were they would be next to an ad for make your own flying machine with a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's classic comic book stuff to me, where you cut out the back and mail something in. Here's Flex Mentallo. He has the best workout program in the country. Like,
mine was like back in the day, like Nickelodeon, and they always have like those like get some splat. You know,
like those splat.
Yeah.
What do
they
you think
always
it cost to make splat?
Like Nickelodeon,
a nickel?
Dude. Nickelodeon always had these like things that they would always advertise as Nickelodeon things,
right?
And I would always sit there and I'd be like, I just want to like call in my parents' credit card just get it. I never did that because right. I would have been in so much trouble. Yeah, just like, where did you get this from? Mm-hmm. You guys bought it?
Right. You remember that? You probably don't remember because you're old. Yeah, your memory's bad. Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, you guys are only 40.
Right. We'll do some Sudoku puzzles or something, you know? Try to keep your
Mom, you
crossword.
Like puzzles? Like puzzles, Mom? Like puzzles? We can do some puzzles.
Oh, man.
Crossword puzzles, we like.
Yeah, so thoughts on Shadow of the Condor?
That was really good, like, deep episode. You know, you have another villain. He takes you in to his house, and then like you're getting that like mystery type of thing. She like you obviously know this guy's a bad guy,
right?
But you just want to see how much of a bad guy he is.
True.
And then kind of that Julio
does he have
guy.
like people in the basement kind of bad guy?
Like, or does he have like a huge
to like shoot race down in a not fair fight?
Yeah, and
to relive past glory days.
But it's good to have race kind of have like a rival in an episode.
Yes.
Normally he's just beating up a bunch of bad guys.
That's true.
But he has somebody kind of on his level.
Yes.
Not really on his level.
Equals, maybe even a superior.
Mm-hmm. And they kind of been in the same type of situation. So this guy kind of seeks out race in a sense.
He recognizes someone like him, an equal, a peer.
Yeah, so it's like I can kill these other guys like this, but I would rather like
it wouldn't be a challenge though.
Yeah,
right?
I would rather do it the way that we know how to do it, and it's wartime fight type of stuff. We're
honestly
monsters.
Too, I think if the Baron even knew that he was going to die in that, he probably would have been like kind of okay with it. In you going out as as a warrior or whatever.
I can see what you're saying on that one.
Right. Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones.
That was a really good one. I see why that's your favorite one.
I wouldn't say the favorite.
One of your
favorites.
favorites.
My favorites, yes.
Because you're getting kind of a different. It's out of the norm for the show. I like when things kind of go out of the norm for the show.
Some of the later episodes, I think, are my favorites.
It's kind of like whenever you have like a character in a show and they have like systematic type of way they're dressing. Like this, they have that outfit and then they change the outfit, and you're like, oh.
Okay. I'm digging the new threads there,
like
man.
You're just one episode. Bring it back.
Yeah, feeling cute. Yeah. Thought I'd change my look.
Might not be canon, but whatever.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay. Well, be sure to check out our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/grassrootscomics for any and all Grassroots Comics updates. We're also on the Twitters at GRC Podcast and the Instagram, just at Grassroots Comics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, anywhere else? I think that's it.
You're on planet Earth, man.
Right, sometimes. Okay. Wet the old whistle there first.
Just what you need.
There we go. Be sure to join us next week where we cover the episodes 11 and 12, being Skull and Double Crossbones, and episode 12, which is the Dreadful Doll. So we're gonna have some voodoo in that one. It sounds like the voodoo that you do.
I was about to say that, but
really?
I didn't think that either one of us would say that, and you did.
Nailed it.
You killed it.
I had a manager in New Orleans at Brennan's that would say that all the time. Do whatever voodoo that you do. Yeah, we get it, Christian. We're in New Orleans.
It's like, Sean, why do you hate me?
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
Really, with me, it was like, why do you hate me? Can you work for me tonight? Nah, man. I work like 3 doubles, and I have something to do tonight with my mom. You know,
so
why do you hate me?
He was your oh yeah, he would do that.
Like,
right.
why do you hate me?
No, I know exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
Sean, I love you.
Say that, right?
I love you, Sean.
Oh man, just not enough to come in tonight.
Please tell him that we're talking about him right now.
There we go. Tag him.
Yeah.
Tag Sean West.
Sean West.
Good guy. Good guy. Yep. Okay. Be sure to join us next week for that. I have been your host, Carter Hutchison. I've been your co-host, and we'll see you next Saturday, kiddos.
You did.
This has been a Grassroots Comics production. Da da da. So what's your story?
Well, some kind of silly cartoon.
You got a problem with cartoons?